Everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Heather from Spiritwynd Wood, Stone, and Bone. I have a commission to make 2 black walnut bowls for Christmas, so I figured I'd better get at them. I had these 2 pieces of walnut, and they were perfect. They were already aged. So here I am, just roughing out the shape. Still a lot more to come off. There's the pith. So I need to bring the bottom up to at least that point. You'll notice I fast forward through a lot of this video. It's just taking a lot of material away and shaping the bowl. If I didn't fast forward, you'd be watching a 6-hour video at the minimum, with all the sanding and the shaping. It does take a long time. At least for me it does, because I'm still new at this. I know some turners can turn a bowl within an hour or 2 or less, but I'm not to that point yet. But I just enjoy the process. I'm learning as I go. Someday I may have that speed up, but right now I don't, and that's okay. As long as the final product is up to my standards, I'm okay with that. And I got a little surprise. Turned around and there was my husband standing there with a nice black spruce burl that he brought home from work. I'm pretty lucky that way, that I have a husband that's so supportive of my craft. He does all of the chainsaw work for me and all the heavy lifting. He brings home all kinds of wood. I've got birch and black cherry, lots of walnut that still needs to dry. But he does all that for me. So here I'm just using the scraper on the side to get rid of some of the bumps that I've left. At this point, I think I've sanded up to a 400 grit, and now I'm adding the homemade sanding sealer. It's shellac and denatured alcohol. I mix it fairly heavy. I put more shellac in than the denatured alcohol, but it still dries fairly fast, and I like the finish it leaves. After this is dry, I sand it again with a 600 grit, and I put another coat on. Time to turn it around and do the inside. So if you've watched up to this point, I really appreciate it. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, why don't you consider doing it now? Just hit that subscribe button down at the bottom, and if you hit the bell, you'll be notified when I upload new video. And it really helps the analytics if you put in a comment. Give me a thumbs up, okay? Really appreciate you guys. I'd also love to hear where you're from. I can look it up and mark it on a map. Just let me know in the comments. Just at the start of hollowing this, I have to be really careful. I don't want to chip out the sides. So I'm being very careful. I don't want to get a run back on the edge because that would ruin the live edge look. As you can tell by the sound, this walnut is really dry. I never did get the ribbons off of it that I sometimes do on other woods. It was more just flakes. So I switched to a carbide tool soon here. It just helps take out more wood. I just wanted to start with the bowl gouge to be able to get the edge started and have a nice clean cut. I filled in a little hole that I had in a knot with some CA glue and shavings. I'm using rubbing alcohol here instead of denatured alcohol to raise the grain, just so I can get a finer finish. After this, I sanded again up to a 600 grit. Here I'm using a homemade abrasive paste made with diatomaceous earth, beeswax, and mineral oil. Most of these recipes can be found on YouTube, and that's where I found mine. Maybe one of these days I'll be able to get either the Axe abrasive paste and polishing paste or the Yorkshire grit. But right now, with the shipping costs the way they are, it's a little ridiculous to pay an extra $30 on top of the price of the product just to get it here to Canada. So for now, I'll just make my own. Just look at the chatoyance in the center of that. I'm pretty proud of this piece, if I do say so myself. This is just the polishing paste. It's beeswax and mineral oil. And I polished the outside just like I did the inside. And it's time to turn off the bottom. I had this piece of pine that I'm using for a jam chuck. I'll just turn the face, make sure it's nice and flat, and put the bowl on it. And because I still had the center mark from the tailstock before, it centered up perfectly the first time. I turned the bottom till there was about a 2 millimeter concave, so the bowl will sit nice and flat when on a table. I didn't want to turn the nub right off in case the bowl went flying off the lathe, so I just took it off at this point and chiseled it off the bottom, and then sanded the spot to a 600 grit. I have a writing tip on order from Razor Tip for my wood burning system. So then I'll be able to actually burn my name in the bottom. I'm going to wait till then to sign the bottom of this. Hopefully it will be neater. And here are the final shots. If you like what you saw, don't forget to like and subscribe, give me the thumbs up, and hey, leave a comment. If you don't like what you saw, leave a comment. Let me know why. Take care, and we'll see you next week.